One of the well-known autosomal recessive disorders is cystic fibrosis. The question that we're going to work through together is this. It says cystic fibrosis is an autosomal recessive disorder. Charlie and Jane each have a sibling with cystic fibrosis. Neither Charlie nor Jane nor any of their parents have cystic fibrosis. What is the probability that Charlie and Jane will have a child with cystic fibrosis? To answer this question, the first thing that I will do is to create some kind of visual or a representation of what we're given. What we can do is make a pedigree or a family tree for Charlie and Jane's family. So we have Charlie and Jane here. They're not affected by the disease, so we don't have to share the name. They're going to have a child, and the question is, what is the probability that their child will have cystic fibrosis? We have to look at the information that's been given to us to answer this question. So Charlie and Jane each have a sibling with cystic fibrosis. So we will include that information in the pedigree. Jane's sibling, let's say it's her brother who is affected by the disease. Charlie's sibling, let's say it's his sister who is affected by the disease as well. The next thing that we're given is that neither Charlie nor Jane nor any of their parents have cystic fibrosis. Let's also include that in the pedigree. Now, how do we go from here? We need to figure out each of the individual's genotypes. Charlie's parents and Jane's parents don't have the disease, so the genotypes that they could have is either this genotype or this genotype. We need to know which one it is, so how do you think we could figure that out? Well, we already know that one of the children here is affected by the disease, so the parents, they must be carriers. Because the only way this son is affected by the disease is if both of his parents are carriers, in which they have to have the genotype of big A, small a, big A, small a. To make that a little bit more clear, let's draw a quick Punnett square. So these are the parents, the mom and the dad. After filling out the boxes, we can see that there is 1 in 4 chances that each of their child is going to have cystic fibrosis. Let's say one of the parents is big A, big A. As you can see, if one of the parents, let's say the mom here, has this genotype, big A, then it wouldn't make sense that this child or this child is affected. So both of the parents must be big A, small a genotype. Now, what are the genotypes of Charlie and Jane? Remember, we're trying to calculate the probability that their child is going to have cystic fibrosis, where the genotype is small a, small a. So we have to assign them as big A, small a genotype. Here's why. Charlie and Jane cannot have the genotype small a because they don't have the disease. In addition, if we have one of them as big A genotype, then we already know the probability of their child being small a genotype, which is precisely 0% probability. So the probability of Charlie having this genotype is 2/3, and that is calculated using his parents' genotypes. Jane also has 2/3 probability of having big A, small a genotype as well, which is also calculated using her parents' genotypes. Now we need to know the probability of the child having this genotype or having the disease. So the same method we figured out the genotypes of Charlie and Jane. We get the parents' genotypes and do a cross using the Punnett square. This is Charlie. This is Jane. After doing the cross, we get this. So the probability that each of the child is going to be small a genotype or have cystic fibrosis is 1 in 4 chances, or 25% chance. And that is if Charlie and Jane are both carriers. Now, do you think that's it? Is 1 over 4 probability or 25% chance the correct answer? Because one of the choices in the multiple choice answer is 1 over 4 here. The answer is no. That's not the final answer. Remember, when we assign the genotypes of Charlie and Jane, their genotypes are only probabilities. So we need to take that probabilities into account in our calculations. So what we have to use is something called the product law or the product rule, where we take Charlie's probability, Jane's probability, their child's probability of having the disease, and multiply them by one another. When we do the math, we will get 4 over 36, which can be reduced to 1 over 9. And that's the final and correct answer to the question.